folks. Grab a seat and pour your drink neat as Whiskers and Whiskeys presents Tales of the Trophies, the Big Ten's greatest rivalries. We're back. Joe, EJ, happy Halloween, guys. Spooky season. How's it going? Did you have a lot of booze this weekend?
Sure did.
Too many booze.
Yeah, I know. Well, we were together this weekend, so that I am very well aware of how many booze, how many tricks and treats you guys got into, and it was a lovely little Halloween weekend here. I gotta say, really nice.
Yes,
But now I'm ready.
Did you guys get a lot of trick or treaters at your house?
We got like 17. We have
love how
way too
you,
much
know
candy.
exact.
Well, you know what? I found out because we got a lot of candy, so I've been eating some of the leftovers here. The Milky Way is decreased in size. It used to be that Milky Way and Snickers were like the exact same size, but I just had 4 of them. I had to, because I found it looked very thin. It was like the Milky Way is not as thick as it used to be.
You needed a proper sample size. Yeah, you need a proper sample size.
Right. So and one was like squished. So I'm like, well, that doesn't count. So then I had to have 2 more. And yeah, it's a lot thinner. It's on that.
I also heard Kit Kat is doing 1 Kit Kat instead of the doubles for the small ones.
A single.
I heard that on the radio this morning. Yeah.
So,
or maybe a cat. I don't know.
One of the bags that I have, it's not even a full size kit. It's like a half kit and it's by itself. It's disappointing.
Are we sure it's not a cat?
I think it's a kit.
Okay.
I feel like cat would be bigger.
Kit Kat's gonna do a whole big left Twix, right Twix type of thing.
Yeah, I heard about that on the radio this morning, and people were complaining that it was just they cut them in half. I don't know if it's COVID related or just cutbacks in general, but
I mean that's important.
No cat.
Yeah. And Mike, I knew you were in some trouble there as far as having too much, because we bought 1 Costco bag full of candy and have a ton of leftovers. And I know that you guys bought 2 Costco bags.
Sure did. I mean, but define trouble. I mean, this is a position I'll happily find myself in.
Yeah, he's the popular
7 days
kid
a
at
week,
school.
twice on Saturdays. Yeah.
Diabetes,
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. Well, why don't we?
I should just head down to a local school and just like drive by and just throw it out of the car. Just like make it rain.
You think you're Willy Wonka?
You might get arrested. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I know. You better be careful.
I'll go to.
You guys want some candy?
I'll go to the school that
You're driving your van.
I'll just be like, hey, they'll be like, oh, it's fine. That's just Mike. No big deal.
Yeah. And I'm just realizing, I don't know why this got. Oh, I know why I got deleted last time. But why don't we talk about our drinks here? Joe had a pretty cool idea this week. It's unique. I would never have thought to do this. But Joe, why don't you talk to us about what we're drinking?
All right. So this week it's pretty simple. We're not reinventing anything here, or are we? We've had a lot of Iowa in our weekly drinks, trophies, all that. So Iowa is in this trophy. So I'm trying to steer away from that. For nothing against Iowa. We've just had a lot of it. So shifting away from that, I was looking, and Nebraska has pretty much nothing for drinks. You'd think all the corn, they'd have some
you would think
pretty
they'd do
sweet
something.
drinks.
Yeah.
Not much out there. So what we went with is an adult Kool-Aid. And the significance for the Kool-Aid is, for those of you that didn't know, Kool-Aid was invented in Nebraska.
Really?
Any guesses on what year Kool-Aid was invented?
Oh, it's old. I'm gonna say like the 1940s or something like that.
I'll go.
Maybe not 40s, 50s.
I was gonna say I'll go 19, but I'll give an exact. I'll go 19. It's not gonna be any of the years that I've done a trophy here. I probably would have used that as a fun fact. Let's do 1961.
Oh, I'm gonna say 1952.
Okay.
1927.
Ooh.
Wow.
So Kool-Aid was invented in 1927 by Edwin Perkins in Hastings, Nebraska. So why are we going with Kool-Aid is because, yes, it was created in Nebraska, but it has also been declared the official soft drink of Nebraska in 1998.
Okay. I mean, to be fair, it has the prerequisite of having 1,000,000 grams of sugar in it. So I guess
Is
I
that what
never
makes a soft drink a soft drink? I thought it had to be
So
seltzer
carbonated.
or
Yeah.
carbonated. Yeah.
There's also, when I was doing a little bit of research, it showed there is a mix between like an official drink and an official soft drink. Like
Yeah.
most places, most states or whatever have just a drink. This is
Mhm,
our drink.
mhm.
Yeah.
I think they kind of created their own lane here for Kool-Aid just because they could. So it's a
I mean-
soft drink. I don't know what else they've got, but this is it. So I've got a couple other fun facts for you.
Ooh, fun fact from
Uh,
Joseph.
So it was created in 1927 by Edwin Perkins, like I said. The company only remained in Nebraska for 4 more years before it moved to Chicago. So not a huge history there, but that's their claim to fame, is that it was created in Hastings, Nebraska.
Sure.
Originally, it was called Fruit Aid, and it was changed. You guys were close to this one. And this might be what you guys were really on to. I know you guys do a lot of research on soft drinks in the Midwest.
You know me.
It was renamed to Kool-Aid in 1953.
Ooh, so I was pretty damn close with the 52 guess on. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I'll give that to you. What else? So originally it was Fruit Aid. Now they do celebrate Kool-Aid days in Hastings, and they
Oh yeah.
honor themselves and do this big festival. And for the record, in 2011, they had 40,000 people that attended Kool-Aid days.
People love Kool-Aid, dude. I mean,
true.
I'm one of them, but people love Kool-Aid.
I mean,
It's
if
true.
it's an excuse to gather and probably potentially drink non-soft drinks there.
Yeah,
as
I'm curious
well.
if they make this what we're making, and I'll explain what it
Maybe.
is in a second. I wonder if they make this at Kool-Aid days, but I might have to go find out.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I got is in 1953. So actually the same year that it was renamed. I don't know if this has anything to do with it. It was purchased by General Foods and is now part of Kraft Food Company, like tons of other foods and beverages.
Yeah.
So here's our adult Kool-Aid. You have your Kool-Aid mix, whatever flavor you want to go with. You mix that with ice. And well, first you make a Kool-Aid with water, normal way. Then you're going to add that with ice into a shaker with your liquor of choice. Shake it up. Very simple. Pour over ice. There's your drink. And I do have some mixtures here for you guys if anyone's interested in making it. Some mixtures that were online as going well together should be made together, as you can
Flavor
imagine.
and liquor pairing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for red is tropical punch, as you would assume it would go with rum. Green apple, green would go with tequila. Orange with whiskey. I don't know if you guys have orange or not.
I did orange with whiskey. Yeah,
Okay.
but I want to double click on that. So green apple with tequila.
Mhm.
Like that is shocking. Like I didn't say that whenever you sent it, but like
Yeah.
that seems bananas to me. Like it's hard to mix to think of tequila mixed with anything other than like a tequila sunrise, like orange, right? But like, yeah, with green apple, that just seems gross. I hate tequila too, so I'm not.
I was tempted to try that one, but we couldn't find the green apple beater or Kool-Aid.
Mm-hmm.
And then orange with whiskey, like I said, kind of your old-fashioned style with the orange and the whiskey, and then grape with vodka, which is what I went with, just to change it up. I assumed you guys would go with the orange and whiskey.
That's what I did. Yep.
For the name of the podcast, so I went with grape and vodka. So
very nice.
We want to give it a try?
Boys. Yeah, let's do it.
Cheers.
And also for the listeners, it's really up to you. I don't want you to think we're trying to give you diabetes, because you obviously have to put like 5 cups of sugar in a normal Kool-Aid. I know, I think all 3 of us might have done it a little different. I know I made the Kool-Aid without any sugar, and then when I actually made the cocktail, I added a little bit of sweetener just to add to it. But
pizzazz.
Yeah, you don't have to actually make a real thing of Kool-Aid and then put all that sugar on.
What was that, Mike?
I actually but I did the orange with the whiskey, and I did a liquid IV, the orange liquid IV.
Okay.
Delicious. And the nice thing about that too is that it's going to hydrate you while dehydrate. It's perfect. But no, this actually, I know EJ, you said whenever Joe was explaining it that you never would have thought this, but like honestly, this just harkens back to me of like college, like not exactly the same, but like, and shout out Jack Prudence and a great drink that he used to make. Shout out also Ross Patterson. I don't know which one of them. I know Jack perfected it. I don't know who started it. Teen pregnancy. You take Sprite, Crystal Light, sugar-free Crystal Light, and that's important because the sugar-free, less of a hangover, right? And then Everclear, and you just put that in a big old jug, and then you have a great party.
So for the record, I also have my notes here. This recipe is a summer like party recipe. It's made to be by the gallon. So
yeah,
we all cut ours down, but it is made to be by the gallon for a punch or whatever. So that same kind of idea there.
Oh yeah. Wow, what a time. What a
so, yeah,
time.
this is it. This is our we kept it simple. I didn't really find too much for Nebraska, unfortunately, but we did a lot of Iowa stuff. So thought we could show some love to Nebraska and
love.
Kool-Aid.
No, yeah.
We're drinking their Kool-Aid.
Yeah, I had no idea that Kool-Aid was there. I know I was admittedly going to try and find green apple for different reasons and mix it with whiskey, but I was unable to find the green as well. So
to segue away from that, another thing I noticed, I was just looking up like Hastings, Nebraska, as I was like putting this together.
Yeah.
And I saw last night, or it might have been this morning, I think, their Weather Channel broadcast that they had snow this morning. They tweeted it. They had snow falling this morning. So people were excited.
Where's the game this weekend? Where's the game coming weekend?
This game is not on this week, which I will get to. I believe.
Okay,
so there could be lots of snow.
I believe Nebraska is playing Ohio State, maybe.
I'm not ready
this week.
I am not ready for snow, but
and I actually think it might
be a
good
snow football game is nothing like it. Nothing like the first snow football game, baby. Usually it's Buffalo. Usually it's the Bills.
Yeah.
And it feels so good. Feels so good.
Yeah, when you win football games, but unfortunately for our professional team here, Detroit, we play in 70 degrees and still don't win football games. So
it just feels good, as a Steelers fan, it feels good to knock off the reigning Super Bowl champions. That felt really good this past week. So
yeah. Okay, why don't we?
You're not gonna ask. I have a whole thing. You're not gonna ask. You're not gonna be like
talking about the Browns.
Yeah, talking about the Browns, the reigning Super Bowl champions.
Please tell me why. Are they the reigning Super Bowl champions?
Well, they won the Super Bowl last year, right? Oh no, they just acted that way when they beat the Steelers in the wild card game. Oh, wow, excuse me. Oh, my mistake. You
What's
would
a wild
think by
card
the
game?
way the Browns reacted.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What are playoffs?
Sorry, I'm talking to Lions fans. It's what happens after you guys start getting ready for the draft.
Wait,
we're already ready.
There's games that are played in January? Really?
Once in a while.
No, that's golf season.
Interesting. All right, why don't we segue into our college football recap, and why don't we start off with the game that we talked about on the pod last week, the Heartland Trophy game, Iowa versus Wisconsin. Oof. It was an absolute blowout. I definitely didn't expect that.
Yeah, neither did I.
Iowa's melting down.
I did.
You thought it was going to be a blowout?
I told you that no, I didn't say blowout, but I thought that
Wisconsin.
I was going downhill. Yes.
Oh.
Well, that's true. The first thing, whenever we turned the game on, the first thing you said was, their offense. You said, I told you their offense stinks. And it turns out their offense.
What was the final? I didn't see that.
27-7.
Okay. I think when we turned it on, it was like 20-0 or something like that.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. I guess I just expected, coming off a bye week, because Wisconsin's offense hasn't been that great either. And Iowa's defense, minus that one game against Purdue, had been so good. So I thought after a bye, they still had control of the West, that they would, show up. I knew they'd struggle on offense, but I expected the defense to really keep them in the game, get some turnovers like it has. And I mean, obviously I was wrong.
When you get those turnovers, you still have to do something with the ball, right? Like, you're going to get your pick sixes or your scoop and score, but creating turnovers is half of it. You got to still put the ball in the end zone or even field goal, get points.
Yeah, I mean, credit to
doesn't
Wisconsin.
sound like they did that.
No,
No.
because they have been dead on arrival midway through the season,
Yeah.
and they kind of turned it
Except for
around.
Midway.
that Michigan game, they were really good.
I think Wisconsin got the wind knocked out of their sails the first game of the year. I think they
Yeah.
couldn't come back from that.
Yeah.
I mean, then it was Michigan, then it was, or Notre Dame, then Michigan, or whatever, vice versa it was.
Yeah.
And they just looked like they were done, but credit to them to turn it around. And now something I had no idea, and I was very surprised to see, but Minnesota is now in control.
Brother
of the
Bud
Big
Sky,
Ten
you might go
West.
Gophers, baby. We are
Wow.
pro PJ Fleck podcast. Let's
What-
go.
What's their record?
I believe they have 2 or 3 losses, which
One
that's
to
gonna-
Bowling Green.
Our
Yeah,
quarter zip king. And what's crazy is I think they're on like their 5th string running back, you know,
Oh,
like
yeah,
they
that's
keep
right.
having
First-
running
game
backs
one.
get injured, but it's next man up mentality over there, man. They are just rowing that boat. Don't
Yeah,
look forward, don't
I-
look back, just row the damn boat.
I mean, it's not for Big Ten fans, and especially for Joe and I, it's not a surprise that the Big Ten West is, weak. I was very surprised to see that Minnesota actually is in control now. It's they hold their own fate.
Yeah, they've got
if they
2
win.
losses. Ohio State for week 1, and then Bowling Green.
So only 1 loss in the Big Ten, and
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see if they can hold on. I didn't really check to see what else they have, if they have any other
me to
teams
tell you?
kind of if they get
Let's see. They've got the Fighting Illini on this weekend. They're coming out strong, and then they've got Iowa, who we just talked about.
is
Indiana.
that in Iowa City, or is that in Minnesota?
It's in Iowa City.
Ooh.
And then Indiana, not so bad, and then they
No.
close out with Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
So
So, I mean, they still
it's
have
not
to-
easy. Yeah.
No, I guess it's still, if you're Iowa, believe it or not, if you can win out and beat Minnesota, I mean, you can have that tiebreaker, and Wisconsin might even have a chance, considering one of their losses was Notre Dame, and that doesn't count for Big Ten.
Doesn't
Yeah,
really
so looking
matter
at-
because I think they're run to a buzzsaw when they get to the Big Ten championship game, no matter who it is.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Iowa's got Northwestern, then Minnesota, Illinois, and then Nebraska. So a little bit easier, but
Yeah.
not a guaranteed win.
No,
Wait,
definitely.
Was
not.
there another trophy game this weekend?
Yes, there was. And before we get to this game, let me just kind of set the scene here, because the 3 of us definitely missed out on a big opportunity, and I get why it didn't happen. But okay, so for the listeners here, Mike, I think we had mentioned last episode that Mike and his lovely wife were hosting a brunch, and so the 3 of us were going to watch this game, Michigan State, together, and it was Halloween Eve. So we dressed up. We all looked fantastic. We had Joe dressed up as Jim Harbaugh, glasses down,
The
headset
loser.
on. He had his, he was in the perch, the hands on the knees pose. He had that going on for him. The nice block M hat, sweater. Mike, he took us to Tool Time. He went all Al Borland with his wife being Tim Allen. It was wonderful. And then
What were you?
I went with my classic 80s Hulk Hogan. I was ready to body slam some people. I did not,
Brother.
thankfully. Brother. We looked fantastic. We should have taken a picture. And
Story of my life, dude. I
for
should have taken
various
a
reasons,
picture.
we didn't. Mike was busy hosting. I felt sick to my stomach for like 7 straight days. So
That's
I
a
was
picture
focused.
you'd need to take before
Yeah,
before the game
100%.
starts.
Yeah. And I was busy taking mummy jalapeno poppers out of the oven, and
Which were delicious.
I was they
Right.
were. Yeah. But we're gonna have to get together for Christmas time. I did not make my homemade Chex Mix, so I have everything, so I guess I could just make it whenever really and take it. But it's gotta be hot. Gotta be hot at the oven. So I'll have to either host or, well, more likely with your guys' upcoming activities here, parents to be, I'll probably actually just come over to your house and make Chex Mix for you. So
That
Come on
sounds-
over.
That sounds great. All right. So Paul Bunyan Trophy, our other trophy game, it was an instant classic. I mean, I'll give you guys just kind of my quick thoughts here. I thought both teams showed they belonged in the top 10. I was very happy And Joe and I kind of texted about this today because the rivalry can be very toxic between the two fan bases. But it was great to see the state of Michigan, both teams showing that they were the class of the Big Ten. I thought it was great to show that out on the national stage. Just one, how important that rivalry means to everyone, and two, to just have another classic. Like, this is just going to go right back on the list of great games between the two teams. Obviously it went my way this time and not Joe's, but it was just a great game. Both teams played really well. I thought they were very evenly matched too.
Yeah, this one was, how I see it is, and we also talked about this as well, it could have gone either way. Like, you've got Michigan clearly winning the first half, and then after adjustments, Michigan State clearly won the second half. So, I mean, that could have easily been flipped. It was maybe two plays that kind of created how it played out at the end there. So, would I have liked to see a fair shot to win it? Sure, but you can't really put yourself in the position to let any calls or refs change that. But one thing that I wasn't really a fan of, and we also talked about this, is kind of the Michigan media and all that stuff. They're just like trying to create different narratives that aren't, I mean, I'm sure they're there in some places, but from the people that I know for Michigan or even Michigan State, like, it's not like as nasty as people are trying to make it out to be. Like, yes, everyone wants their team to win, but they're just kind of making it something that it's not, or trying to. And even today, like, we were both listening to Detroit radio, and I had to turn it off because it was just like they're just condescending, and they're trying to say that Michigan fans are calling them out and like saying all this negative stuff leading up to it, and then they go ahead and do that today after the game. Like, so I don't know, this wasn't my thing. But
that's crazy. That
goes.
stinks, man. Yeah, no,
it comes down to, there's always every year a couple of very vocal former Michigan players that mostly come from the heyday. And they just, and I get it that some of them are paid to talk about it, but they talk with condescension still towards Michigan State. So then when Michigan State wins, you have alumni, and the Detroit talk radio people he's talking about are two Spartan alums.
Yeah, they don't have any Michigan alums on the show.
Then yeah, they do. They have a not on that 2:00 earlier in the day.
Oh yeah, early, not in that show, yeah. Specifically.
But then because of that condescension, when a victory happens today, I even told him, like, even for me as a Spartans fan, it was just kind of like, okay, like, first 10 minutes would have been great to rub it in their face, but like, let's just talk about the game. And it was just like a full 4 hours of just rubbing it in their face. And a lot of that comes from, like I said, just a couple of former players that are pretty vocal yearly. So it's just one of those things.
I love how cordial you guys are. I mean, on the one hand, I'm glad that there was no body slamming and breaking of furniture or TVs in my house. But on the other hand, it would have been entertaining to see. It's like, well, babe, I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's just Michigan State.
I like my team, but I'm not stupid. I'm not going to fight Hulk Hogan.
No, I'm
not going to fight him, brother.
Yeah. Outsider's perspective, I thought it was, I agree with what you guys said. It was an instant classic. It was such an awesome game. It just back and forth, and a freaking battle, dude. Like, like you said, Joe, it came down to a couple of things here and there that really turned the outcome. And man, awesome game. I was glad I got to watch it with both you guys. And it was a blast, man. I had a lot of fun watching it. But like, honestly, I still think either team is capable of winning the Big Ten. It's Ohio State now. Right, like it depends what happens with Ohio State. So and you guys both have that test looming. So
they didn't look great against Penn State, who's kind of hurting.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, that game was never really in question. I don't think, but they did not look strong.
I mean, it wasn't in question, but it was within a score the whole game.
Yeah,
sure. And that's not really like them. So.
Yeah,
I think that shows people. I mean, I've been saying this week after week, people are jumping back on them after they beat Akron, after they beat, who else was it? Minnesota, not Minnesota. They beat some Rutgers. Yeah.
I'll give you my SEC take on it. They ain't played nobody, Paul. They ain't beat nobody, Paul. And they really haven't.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's saying their offense is really humming now, and their defense really turned it around. Like, who have they played? Like,
Yeah,
I'm not
against the
saying they're a bad
frickin'
team.
Akron Zips.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're not a bad team, but I don't think it's a lock. That's what I'll say.
No, I think it's going to
No.
be an exciting end to the season here for
And-
sure in the Big Ten East. Big Ten
Can-
West, not so much, but the Big Ten East
Yeah.
is definitely going to be exciting.
One last thing I'll say about the Michigan State game was it was very evident that Michigan State's game plan was stopping Haskins and Corum and making Cade beat them. And Cade probably played arguably the best game of his collegiate career.
He
He
really
looked
good.
fantastic. The fact that Andrew Anthony hasn't caught a pass till now is a shame.
Yeah, I don't
But
know
honestly,
why that's happened.
I don't know, but now moving forward, I
Wait,
mean,
That
he
kid
can-
hadn't caught a pass until this
until
game.
And he has
93
two
yard.
touchdowns.
Get
Yeah.
like 200
out
yards.
of here.
No, I don't know how many games he played in prior. I think he played in a couple. I don't think he's played all year long. He's a true
I'm not
freshman.
He
sure,
was
don't
yeah.
get me
lights
wrong.
out, dude. He was a
Right.
game
He
breaker.
looked like he belonged.
big time.
So now, if
So-
you're Michigan, personally, for a Spartans fan, I think Cade showing what he did makes me think that they could beat Ohio State with a very good game. Now, if you're Michigan, you have to incorporate that passing game more than just like, I know we can run it. Let's run it 60 times. Cade and Anthony especially showed that you can take advantage of some secondaries if they would just let Cade work.
Yeah. So the other thing that people are doing now, and I don't want to spend too much time on this because I know we have plenty to talk about, but one thing is everyone's calling for Harbaugh's head. They want him fired. I have a couple of friends who also said, or tweeting out or posting, fire Harbaugh, and I get it, and I'm not completely against that idea, but you still need the points that I have to make is you still need someone to replace him. Are you going to get
Yeah.
somebody who's going to come in without setting your program back 5 years?
Yeah.
You're starting your whole recruiting cycle over. You're starting everything over. You're probably going to lose a lot of the guys you already have with the transfer portal. You're losing JJ McCarthy. You're probably going to lose Anthony. You're going to lose Corum. You're going to lose a lot of players, and you're just starting from scratch. And so, do you want to start over, or do you want to ride it out with him and see if he can turn it around? You've got, I mean, honestly, I think I'm not his biggest fan, especially right now, but I think there's a bright future with McCarthy, with Corum, who's a sophomore. McCarthy, obviously, is a freshman. Anthony's a freshman. Like, you've got some guys that are coming in as well. So I don't know. I'm not sold on. I'm not
Well,
saying fire him, but I'm not happy with how the outcome has been over the past 6-7 years.
Well, in Michigan, I'll say this. I think that this is the most impressive season Michigan has had, like, to this in a while. Like, not like the way
Yeah, it's
they've
been
won games has been very convincing.
The
So,
thing is,
you
they
know-
have to finish. I think that's
Right,
Yeah,
gonna-
right.
That's
If-
what
Wow.
people are
if-
pissed
if-
that they're not
if
beating
they
Michigan
finish
State and not beating
9
Ohio State.
Right. If they finish 9-3 and lose to Michigan State, Penn State, Ohio State, and say lose their bowl game, you're probably not going to feel great because
Sure,
it's just
sure.
I
another
would even
year.
But
I would
there-
even go in further and say if you beat Penn State and you just lose to Michigan State and Ohio State, it's the same thing.
Yeah,
People are
yeah.
pissed.
Now,
Yeah,
if
it's tough.
they run the table the rest of the way, even if they don't make it, like, let's say Michigan and Michigan State both run the table the rest of the way, Michigan doesn't get to go to the Big Ten championship game, I still think that's a super successful season, and I think they're getting to a New Year's Six bowl.
So
Easy.
my thoughts on that, sorry EJ, but I think if he does that, if they run the table at the rest of the way, all is forgiven. If you beat Ohio State, no one cares about the Michigan State game
Oh
anymore.
yeah, well, that's a big monkey on their back too with Ohio State.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. No, and that's, we talked about this before. Like, it is what it is. Like, that's the bigger monkey on your back. Like, you don't. And I hope that's what they're looking for now. Is like, okay, we lost this one, our other rivalry game. Let's focus on Ohio State.
You have
and
to.
just
That
you gotta,
has to
yeah.
be the mentality.
So if they
Yeah.
lose that, then yeah, I don't know. It's anybody's call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would hate to start over, but you never know.
And we talked a little bit about Michigan's personnel. I just want to jump in and say Kenneth Walker. Holy cow! I mean, that one run I saw him. We all saw him, and if you watched the game, you saw him where he literally like shrinks down. Like, I mean, I didn't realize how bad Michigan State's offensive line is. Boy, it stinks. And one time the guard kicked out and had a pretty nice, like, decent block, and there was just a little gap. and Kenneth Walker just shrinks down and explodes out of that hole and just jams right past the safety. I mean, he is an impressive running back.
So,
Yeah, it's you don't see too many guys that can be as thick as he is and still have breakaway speed. Like
Yeah.
that's what always surprises me is like, sure, he gets the edge but he never looks like he's running really, really fast, but he's obviously breaks away from players. Yeah. He's probably the best, honestly, probably the best running back I've seen at Michigan State. And there's been quite a few good ones.
So I don't know if I assume Tucker will win Coach of the Year, but I think he should win Recruiter of the Year or whatever you want to call that, because Finder of the Year, whatever you want to call it. Like that's honestly like, and people were complaining on also on Detroit Sports Radio saying that if they actually Michigan State alums, fans, whatever, were mocking Michigan fans saying, if they didn't have Walker, then that game's a different story. Yes, that's 100% accurate. But you can't say that because he is on the team. Like, whatever. But that's the point.
If the Pacers didn't have Tom Brady, they wouldn't have won all those Super Bowls either. So
So yes, I think just for that transfer alone, I think he should win Coach of the Year. Like that's. Unfortunately for you, I don't think he's staying. I don't think he'll be there next year.
But that's a good thing, right? That means we've had a great year, and you don't find too many Heisman. And I think at the very least, he's cemented his spot in New York. We would have to probably win out for him to win the Heisman because running backs just don't. But
he also had a couple games that were like a little iffy.
Yeah. But I again, like assuming we win out, it's probably because he plays well.
At the same time, no one's really closing out that Heisman race right now.
No, but it's young and it's Alabama, and he's the favorite, man. It's
to say about that.
It's been great.
Hope he doesn't win it because then we'll get him in the draft next year.
Right. And we can go on to quickly. We kind of touched on this. Obviously, I put Penn State, Ohio State as a statement win, but not for what you'd expect. It showed, and we kind of talked about this already. It just showed one, that Penn State is not going to lay down the rest of the year, which kind of sucks because I hope they were going to. And two, it showed that Ohio State made mistakes in that game and it stayed close. So, you probably can't make mistakes and beat them, but if you play mistake free, I mean, they're not as unbeatable. And Joe said this all year long. I think this was a good case of Penn State didn't play perfect and they lost, but if they had played better and didn't turn the ball over 2 or 3 times, they probably could have came away with that victory.
Yeah, there was a couple fumbles, picks, but that game also, I want to say that game was in Columbus. So it definitely should have been that close in Columbus.
That is true. That is very true. People forget. I forgot that they even
people don't
Columbus.
forget.
Yeah, right. So
apparently Franklin remembered where he was going and he didn't show up to an empty stadium in Ann Arbor.
It's all part of his plan.
So he figured it out. He got to the right place.
Yeah, there's one coach in Pennsylvania that's ready to go to Southern California. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, why don't we talk about some upsets here? We have 4 to get through kind of quickly here. First one, Miami, Pittsburgh. I'm pretty sure I texted Mike and our friend Chris, who's a Miami fan, after my Miami beat who'd they upset last week?
NC State. That watch
big Pittsburgh's win for Miami.
It was a ranked opponent, right? And they were at the top of that part of the ACC. I said Pittsburgh's going to let it down. They beat Clemson, and that's what they did earlier in the year when they lost to Western. And sure enough, Pitt
just
let
sucks.
down.
I was at Pitt too.
That Pitt Clemson game was so freaking exciting, and just after it felt like you watched like a really a good classic football game, and then that freaking Miami game just stunk. So kind of stinks. The nice thing was though is that, like you said, EJ, I did feel this one coming, so I included Pitt in a couple of parlays and I took them straight up, but then I also just hammered Miami money line for like $50. So I'm like, well, we'll see how this goes, and I'm working out, so I can't be too mad, but also I hate Miami, so sorry, Chris.
The ACC is still wide open with Wake Forest undefeated in the top 10 for the first time.
That's a team that knows how to cover.
Program. Even without Walker, imagine if they would have kept Walker.
Who?
Yeah. And then, so they're on the top of the coastal or whatever it is. And then the other side's the Atlantic, where I might have them flip flop. It's still Pitt. So Pitt still has a chance to get to the ACC championship, get to a New Year's Six bowl, and still have a really good season, but they really can't stumble too much more throughout their schedule here. And then the next upset was probably another non-shocker. I think we kind of circled this for our betting purposes. Was number 22 Iowa State traveling to West Virginia.
Yeah, we did, baby.
Same thing. You kind of could just feel it coming. It's always tough to play in Morgantown. And it's just one of those things where Iowa State didn't feel good enough to win there, and they weren't.
Milan Pushkar Stadium is a tough place to play, my man. Country roads take me home. Yeah, I hammered West Virginia. It felt right. It sure was. And West Virginia has another very strong opponent coming to Morgantown this weekend, to Milan Pushkar Stadium. The Cowboys are coming. Mike Gundy and the Tennessee Waterfall are showing up. So
they're letting that thing into the state.
They sure are. Well, that's a passport to get in, my man. You're automatically good to go. So
yeah, will he leave? I mean, he just looks like he's from, like, as much as I'm sure he might look like he's from Oklahoma, but I feel like if I saw him and you took off like a cowboy hat and boots, I'd be like, West Virginia, right?
I mean, him and Bob Huggins will probably drink a keg of beer before he gets back on the plane, but you know.
What do you guys think?
He might stay like Urban Meyer, you know, just back with the team.
Yeah.
Just hang around Morgantown.
Well, he's gonna have some problems because they are gonna be all over him with that thing. You thought Urban got the chicks? What about him to USC? What if he takes that thing down to USC? It just
Gundy.
Yeah.
So Gundy
that's too flashy for him, dude. Do you think he'd end up on Rodeo Drive? No chance. No chance.
With the horse, yeah.
He'd find out there's no steers and no horses. He'd turn right back around.
I actually just saw he has like a lifetime contract essentially, because that was his alma mater. They just like renewed it, and essentially it's pretty much like a lifetime contract. Like,
why would you leave? I mean, after that, I'm a man, I'm 40 speech. Like, you think he's going anywhere? No chance.
Yeah. Next upset, one that I was curious about, and I had mentioned it to Mike. Number 12 Kentucky going to Mississippi State. And honestly, Mike, I'm curious, because you always talk about this with Alabama, being an Alabama fan, that it's just always hard to play in Stark Vegas. Yeah. And this Mississippi State team isn't great by any means. Well, what is it? Is it the fan base with their cowbells? Is it just always a full stadium? Or
yeah, I mean, they're gonna pack it in there for sure.
Okay. I really haven't caught too many games,
dude. I mean, just we had a guy, and whenever I played high school ball, like, we had a kid on the team. His dad was bringing cowbell. It was the most annoying thing to hear. It was so freaking annoying. He brought that stupid thing to our awards dinner, and it was just like, geez, man, like, just I wanted to break it over his face. But I mean, cowbells are just inherently very annoying. But like, Stark Vegas it's just a hard place to play. I mean, Mike Leach, you know, he's Kirk Herbstreit said best. They'll be the first to tell you, hey, we're not really interested in running the ball today. Like, we're just gonna throw it. So, you know, I mean, I didn't get to catch a lot of this game, but yeah, I mean, it's tough going in there. And I mean, Kentucky, yeah, they had some momentum going, but well, they kind of stumbled there. You know, they had that big win, got the good win against the Gators, and then now they've been stumbling ever since. So
yeah, no, definitely. It's always interesting to me, because you always hear about Stark Vegas, and you always hear how it's a tough place to play.
It's hopping, dude. I mean, that is the place to be. So, and
people keep losing there, so clearly it's, you know, they're right.
Yeah, it's no joke. It's like, I mean, it's like Death Valley. Like, even if LSU stinks, it's still a hard place to play, you know? So
yeah. The last one I have here is an upset, was number 19 SMU going to Houston, which was while SMU is ranked and Houston is, because they were still undefeated, and Houston, I think is only one loss team, but because their, you know, strength of schedule, it's they're unranked, but they were a very good team. It was always kind of probably an upset alert. I don't know what the spread was, but I bet you it wasn't. Houston might have been favored, to be honest.
I stayed away from it. The ponies to the glue factory, my man. That's the sum. That's the end game there. Yeah, I stayed away from the game. It's just, but you have Houston in here. It was the 10-year anniversary of Corso with the best mascot headgear of all
I
time
think you
on
text
game
us
day.
about this.
Oh yeah. For those listeners that don't know, just we're a family friendly podcast, but yeah, Google Lee Corso game day Houston and Houston Cougars maybe, and you'll find it. It's so you have to watch it multiple times because it's Chris Fowler back when he used to run game day and Herb Street. Their reactions respectively are just so good, so good. That I watch it every time it comes across my timeline. So
yeah, so that Houston ends SMU's real hopes at like a New Year's Six dreams. Now, if you're Cincinnati, you might be a little nervous because assuming SMU, even if they drop another game, that's still the Conference US, the Conference USA, and SMU is going to want to get into a nice bowl, and the way to do that is to take down Cincinnati. So it's almost bad for Cincinnati that they won.
Well, they
lost
I mean,
because
SMU had to do that no matter what. It's definitely bad from a strength of schedule perspective for Cincinnati, but SMU is gonna. I mean,
I just mean it's bad for Cincinnati because I think SMU is going to be extra motivated now to win. Where like,
what is that extra? I mean, they had to win anyways to keep their New Year's Six bowls. What extra motivation? Like we really can't lose now. I don't buy all that. I mean, they would have came in that. If they were undefeated coming in since maybe there would have been more hype around it, maybe a little bit more, but like maybe it would have been like, oh, maybe SMU can get into the playoff, something like that. But yeah, I don't buy that. They would have been motivated either way.
And then here's just another
also,
friend.
If you guys watch on YouTube, there's a gnat that's driving me crazy, and these guys, I'm letting you guys know too. I'm trying to kill the gnat. I'm not like Miyagi. I need some chopsticks. Catch that
thing. Don't forget, guys, friendly reminder, please send us your betting slips. Even if it's, at this point, I have been pretty good on Saturdays. I've been pretty good during the week. Hockey, because I'm a degenerate and have to bet something each week, each day, really.
Each week, yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, each day. Sundays have been terrible.
Brutal.
I build up my pot just to like get it knocked back.
We're
down.
Like Bono, baby. Sunday, bloody Sunday.
If it's Saturday morning and maybe you're done with college football, maybe you're more interested in the NFL, don't be afraid to just send us your Sunday, even if it's just for me, please. I am a big NFL fan, but I have been just completely off this year when it comes to spreads. Please.
We'll work on that because I'm the opposite. I struggle with college because there's just so many games and so many different spreads.
Well, the freaking Bengals, dude, just
you can't trust them.
Screwed us this Sunday. Yeah, I mean
them.
That's
I got screwed by. Who did I get screwed by? The Bills covered
the over.
The Steelers Browns. I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, I took that over too. No, there was another.
Well, I thought time was coming where it would just be a shootout.
Yeah.
Let's see. There was a game that really screwed me.
Yeah, Big Ben's.
I took the Vikings because the Cowboys started Cooper Rush from Central Michigan. I thought the Vikings would handle their business at home.
The new Red Rocket there.
Yeah, I also took the Bucks, who lost in New Orleans. Yeah, we'll talk though. We've got.
Well, no, you know what? Speaking of betting, freaking, I mean, Clemson. Like, if you couldn't hate them anymore, that freaking
I watched that
lateral fumble,
and I was texting you guys because I was like, "What was the spread?"
Oh, I had to look it
was
up.
Just it was one of those instant moments where you're like, it meant nothing to the game.
So tell people what happened.
Okay, so you had Clemson was up 4, and it was at the very last play of the game. So it was Florida State just trying to do
the spread was probably 9.5. I think I got it 9.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So it's the end of the game. They're up 4. It's the last play of the game, but Florida State is too far away to throw a Hail Mary.
They're on like their own 40.
And more importantly, Florida State had been covering the entire game.
Right.
Covering
the entire game.
9.5 was never in doubt.
I mean, it was done. It was literally like 1 second. Let's just run a dumb play. And so they were running some laterals. And a lot of times, again, like even when laterals are ran, it's usually just like fallen upon, especially in college, where you can't like get on the ground and then go and score. So all intents and purposes, it was done. Of course not.
What was
They
that?
threw the
Oh,
lateral.
what was that? All intensive purposes?
No, all intense. If you everyone, we were all
I said-
intense,
didn't
I
and then
say
we had
intensive?
purpose.
I thought you said intensive purposes.
No,
I'm like,
intense.
how intense
Like,
are these purposes?
I was in a tent. You were in a tent.
Oh yeah, no, I understand what it really is. That's why I thought he said all intensive. I was like, what?
No, I was in my own tent. You were in your own tent. And
Intense.
he intense, but
And
then we also had
purposes.
purposes.
Sure. Do you want me to continue this story that you asked me to tell that I didn't
Yeah,
even want to
please go
tell?
ahead. Please go ahead.
All right. So now that I have to go back,
Laterals, crazy, ball
Yeah.
falling all over the
Couldn't fall
place.
over.
let me tell the story again.
Okay.
We
'cause
lost
now
people 5 minutes ago, anyways.
essentially Florida State threw a couple laterals and they threw one too many, too close to their own end zone. It probably the last lateral happened at maybe like the 20. Clemson scooped, got tackled, but was able to dive over the goal line. And it was to the point where people didn't realize they actually officially scored. So the game looked over. Everyone's on the field. Coach is shaking hands, and the refs literally had to stop it and say, it's under review. And that score was +6 because they don't kick the extra point, put it to 10, and it screwed everyone, which was
Illinois lost
majority of
100 grand
people,
on it.
because everyone took Florida State because Clemson doesn't cover. And
Yeah,
of course,
that
That was
they covered.
that was crazy.
bad.
So I also want to say, as much as I hate Ohio State, I have been riding them making hundreds of dollars on them. Last week I made 100. I think I made 200. This past week I made 50. All of these games, live betting, all of these games, I am taking them, like, kind of watching to see how they play, which they've been crushing them because they're playing Akron, they're playing Rutgers, they're playing, I think they have Nebraska this week. If you can get it early enough, get that spread, and when it's minus, even 1 week I got it minus 30 and they won by like 48. Yeah.
I remember that.
Those are the games you can watch, and I've been riding them. This week I made $50 because they won. I think it was by 5.5. I had them, but yeah, those are
I
the
think
games
they
that
won by 9-8, something like that. Is what
Yeah.
it finished.
So those are good games to watch in live bet if anyone's interested in those.
Definitely.
Probably until they get to the bulk of their schedule with Michigan State, Michigan.
Right.
Then you don't know.
Right. Then it's all bets are off.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So what games are we looking forward to this weekend? Let's do this lightning round. This is actually kind of a weak slate,
Super
which
weak.
means that there'll
Yeah.
probably be some crazy, shocking games.
Yeah, the schedule doesn't look good, but we'll see if it does end up being a good week here. I'll go first. I got the top two. Unless Joe, you feel a certain way about those games, but I got some
No,
stuff
go
I
ahead.
can chime in.
Yeah.
So yeah, and EJ, obviously you too as well, but Auburn A&M, yeah, this is gonna be a good game, man. I thought I left Auburn for dead a while back, but boy, they showed up
Knicks.
and kicked the crap out of Matt Corral and Ole Miss. So, I think this could be a good game. I think that Auburn obviously has a lot to play for. They want to show they're not dead, and those bastards always try to get hot right before Alabama. So I'm going to be watching this one closely, because if they, have another loss, then there's a little bit, as much as you said, they're going to be really, really wanting to play. Like, I do think that maybe there will be a little less in the tank, although they're always going to want to beat Alabama. And,
my thoughts on this are, and no offense, but like when I see SEC West teams, like, so this is number 12 Auburn and number 13 A&M, I just roll my eyes, because ultimately it's like, okay, but did you, I guess A&M, I don't know who else they lost to, but it's like, did you beat Alabama? Because if
Nope.
you didn't, like, this doesn't matter. So
It's
for
kinda
me,
like
this game's kind of
the
like
Big Ten West.
right. It's like, okay, sweet.
Yeah.
I personally think Auburn's going to lose because it's on the road at College Station, and they're probably looking forward to Alabama, because at this point, that's probably the only thing they really have to play for. So
we'll see, man. And then I encourage everyone to stay up late, 10:15, get a little glimpse of the Road Runners. Meep, UTSA, take on UTEP. UTSA, the cover machines, love them. And their coach just got a 10-year extension. And the AD went to like the football meeting and announced the extension, said, this is our guy for now, forever. I'm like, okay, yeah, we'll see about that. 10-year extension.
And in 2 years when he's coaching, the Longhorns, unfortunately that won't be the case for them.
Well, I mean, it's still University of Texas.
Yeah.
So I've got two games. One of them, I know EJ is also interested in. The first one being Liberty Ole Miss, and that's possibly going to show the Lions' new quarterback.
The
So,
Detroit Lions Bowl, baby.
yeah, we'll see. Corral versus Malik Willis. We'll see who looks better in this game. But honestly,
Malik looks like trash on the
yeah,
road this year, dude.
I'm not super impressed with either of them, but I'll watch just to see what they look like.
They were my hot cover team for a while. I think they did cover this past week, but then boy, like he goes on the road, it's just like, ugh.
Well, this is their chance to spotlight. Obviously, Liberty doesn't. They're a very small school. It's kind of similar to like, people didn't get a chance to watch Trey Lance because he played Division II or 1B or whatever.
Well, you're not watching North Dakota State.
What channel are they on?
I'm not watching it, but I'm betting it.
So this is a chance for really, obviously Liberty's not going to win this game, but it's a chance for him to show his talent against SEC talent. And
it's a big game for him. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
it's
sure.
it's much bigger for him than Corral. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of just hype around the game because those are probably the top 2 quarterbacks, maybe top 1 and 3 quarterback on most people's lists. So be interesting to see how it shakes out.
Yeah, and honestly, I hope the Lions don't take either of them, but we'll see. I'll still watch just to be. Well, but they could still get them later. You never know.
Don't draft.
Yeah.
I don't think either. I don't think both are going in the first round at this point. So, and then my second game for selfish reasons is Indiana at Michigan, just to see how Michigan bounces back after the loss. So
for sure,
should be an easy win, but you never know. And I do want to see them just knock it out of the park.
Yeah, and just quickly, the last 2 for me, Navy versus Notre Dame. We talked about this quickly before when we talked about the Shillelagh Trophy, but this is a trophy game for Notre Dame. It's the Rip Miller Trophy. It should be an easy win for Notre Dame, but you never know when it's a trophy game. Navy's put up a fight against a lot of teams this year. Definitely could be a letdown for Notre Dame and be cool to see the trophy. So I recommend you take a look at that. And then same with Joe. I'm interested to see how Michigan State bounces or continues to go.
Obviously bouncing back, bozo.
Well, it's obviously going to Purdue. We've talked about this before. I mean, they are the spoiler makers. They've already spoiled Iowa's season.
Keep an eye on that 3 quarterback rotation they have.
Quarterback rotation. They have a defensive end.
It's weird, but it worked.
They have a defensive end that's going to be, a top 15 pick, Karlaftis. They're I think at the 4th best passing offense in the Big Ten. Their defense, I think, is another top 5. Don't know why they've lost the games they have, but
where's that at?
It's in West Lafayette. So
okay.
it's we'll see. The line so far is only -2.5 at the Spartans. I expect that to probably not move too much. To be honest with you, we'll see. It's now it's a chance for the Spartans to show that they belong. This is a chance to, you had a very emotional win over your rival. You're in the top 5 now. You're on the cusp of the college playoff. You have Penn State and Ohio State still. You can't lose these to Purdue and Maryland after that. So hopefully they show up. Hopefully Tucker has them ready, but we'll see. I will put that officially on upset alert for myself. I know you guys don't think so, but that's how I see it. We'll see. All right, so why don't we get into the trophy aspect here? So today we are talking about the Heroes Trophy. So this trophy is given to the winner between the Iowa Hawkeyes and the Nebraska Cornhuskers. All corn, all the time.
Drink the Kool-Aid.
Is that the official slogan of this rivalry? All corn, all the time.
Yes. If it isn't,
the Big Corn Network.
Yes.
Corn Cob TV. Coffin Flop.
Corn Cob TV. It will not be on your TV after 2021.
I didn't do this,
but this game would be on it. All right. So some fun facts here. This game will not be played this weekend. I think we briefly talked about that earlier. This will be played during rivalry weekend on the last weekend of the regular season. So usually this is held on Black Friday after Thanksgiving every year. So this is typically at the end. And this is one of the 3 trophies that Nebraska plays for in the Big Ten. We've already talked about 2. We'll talk about another one at a future episode. And this is, believe it or not, the oldest of the 3 trophies, and it was created in 2011. So Nebraska's had a lot of new trophies since they've joined the Big Ten. So guys, I dropped a couple of pictures here to help kind of show what it looks like. What are your first impressions of this trophy?
Is that corn at the bottom?
Oh, that's definitely corn.
Yeah.
That is a what? That's a rich Joe. You're the wood guy. That's like a rich mahogany,
Mahogany,
there,
yeah.
or
It might just be stained.
that's beautiful. That's
It's
beautiful. Okay,
it's nice. It's cut very well, clean cuts.
it sure is. What
Is-
we call that? That detailing there on like the
Is it
each
like
level
branded?
there. That's a
Like the
little-
football at the top?
Oh, yeah, that does look like it's branded there.
And then it also has like a mold.
Oh,
molding that
that's a
goes
nice
across the
big
middle.
boy too. That's a nice big boy. The picture of is that Kittle carrying the trophy there?
Sure is.
Yeah,
Ooh, it
that's
is
a
big.
nice picture. That's
See,
a
it's
big
hard to tell
boy.
what size these are without any
That's a
reference
big
points.
boy.
Mhm.
I tell you what, the fact that I see Kittle carrying it and how huge it is, that makes me love this trophy even more. That is a big, girthy, beefy trophy. Perfect for those corn-fed boys from Nebraska and Iowa and gals.
I gotta say, it does kind of look like a fantasy football trophy, though. It's very basic.
Describe
just a
describe
wood-
what it looks like.
A wood, like square-ish base. That
It's
kind of
what's
tears
that
up.
called? What's it?
It looks like the Washington Monument cut in
Yeah,
half,
Jinx.
and then a football on top.
One on half, just the top. So picture the Washington Monument if it had corn stalks at the base. And then the very
etched into
top
it, yeah.
third is just chopped right off like a what circumcision gone wrong.
Hmm.
Instead of
I don't know if
the
I
tip,
would have gone with that route. But
well,
yeah,
instead of the tip, it is a nice pewter football. And it looks like on the football we have the Hawkeyes logo and the Cornhuskers logo. And then there's I guess those are olive branches. maybe?
yeah, like
Yeah,
Greek
yeah.
looking.
I gotta say, I really like the woodworking and the cool thing about the Washington Monument section, the bottom 2/3, the top third is looks like they have branded in a football on one side with the school's logos, and then helmets with the school's logos.
Mhm.
And then at the bottom, there's a nice plaque that says the Heroes Game. And then there's little tiny plaques on the other sides for I assume each game's
winners.
outcome and the winner. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. It still reminds me. It's gonna like I can't get past the whole fantasy football trophy look.
Well,
but
I tell you what, I would play in this fantasy league though. That's a heck of a trophy.
Nice, yeah.
And like I said,
It's
the
big.
size of it. Like when you see Kittle carrying it, that's what takes. It's no longer a fantasy football trophy.
that's the
pure
size of
this thing.
a like large child.
Yes.
I mean,
Definitely.
George Kittle's carrying it, and he has his
It's about
hands at
half
his
his size.
waist.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one half of a George Kittle.
Do we? Yeah. Do we know
It's
the
a kit.
dimensions, the weight?
It's a George kit. Like
I
we were talking about
did
Kit Kat
not
earlier
see
being
that.
split,
True.
a kit
Yeah.
and cat. This is just a kit. It's not a full
Just
Kittle.
one. His wife's
Yeah.
not there.
Well, it's a half. It's a kit as opposed to a full Kittle.
Yep.
So what I will say here, if you guys, I know it's kind of hard, but if you zoom into that picture
That's
with
what
Kittle,
she said.
on his left ear, the guy that's kind of behind him is his wrestling teammate and Detroit Lion, TJ Hawkinson. So just
Oh
to give
wait,
you
the 8,
that
not
both-
97.
No, in the
97
back.
looks like a wrestler too, but he looks like the
Like,
wrestler that
Where?
he
You can barely
wrestles like
see his face.
Yeah, the guy just right off to his left, right on his face. So like on the left side of his face, the guy that's just
But you,
behind
yeah,
him
you can't
looking.
see his numbers.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Hawkinson, which just
Yeah.
shows you two, premier tight ends on the same team
Also-
at Iowa.
Also, I want to call out 97, who has his helmet off. This guy looks like a maniac. He definitely wrestles
Yeah.
for Iowa as well as
Yeah.
plays football. He wrestles
Looks
probably
like a long
like-
snapper.
he
Yeah.
probably like walks around most of the year at about like 180, something like that. But he wrestles 148 and just like is spitting into water bottles all day. He
The
has like
spittoon.
he has like one French fry for lunch with extra salt to like soak up any extra water. And yeah, I mean, this guy's just he's a monster. He looks like he would really mess me up. I can't tell if he has cauliflower ear, but I guarantee he does.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he definitely.
He
his-
looks
his-
like a maniac.
His hairline is leaving him at
Yeah,
before
It's
the age of
running
20.
away from his face, and it
Yeah.
accelerating
In two different
rate, and,
spots.
yeah, yeah.
All So why don't I
a
give you guys
monster.
the history of this rivalry?
He's the most intimidating person.
Hope
on
he's
that
not a
field.
listener.
No, hope not.
I
because-
have all the respect in the world for you, sir. If you are,
all
you
right.
absolutely messed me up.
The first matchup here between these two schools was in 1891, and Iowa won that 22-0. But then Nebraska won 3 of the first the first 5 games in the series. So the series lead overall is Nebraska leads it 29 wins to 19 losses to 3 ties.
That doesn't seem right. That feels wrong.
Yeah.
Because Nebraska has been terrible since they've joined the Big Ten, it's hard to forget that they were just so dominant in the 80s and 90s,
Yeah.
resulting in national championships. Did they win more than one? I know they won
Sure,
the
they
one.
probably claimed
Don't
more
know.
than one. So
But Iowa has won the last 6 meetings, which has brought it closer, or really would just be really one-sided on Nebraska's side. So the proximity of the two teams played an important role in the early days of the game, which is why it became a rivalry, because there were exclusive trains running between Iowa City and Lincoln, which allowed fans to travel to the games. It's about 189 miles between the two schools.
I
So
want
it's
to do
about
that one day. I want to take a train
2
to a
hours,
game.
46 minutes.
England, all their football games, they'll take trains everywhere.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Or just
take a
walk
train to
across
a
the
game.
park in a rivalry game. A lot of their stadiums are really close to each other, the
that'd be dope.
rivals. And the first meeting of the series, which occurred on Thanksgiving Day in Omaha, Nebraska, was actually the first game Iowa had ever played outside of its home state. So it's kind of interesting as well. So the history of the trophy. So like I had mentioned, this is another trophy that is on the newer side. I'd mentioned before that this trophy story starts in 2011, and similar to last week, I was pretty disgusted when I realized that 2011 was 10 years ago already. So please join me as we reminisce about 2011, which was an exciting time for the 3 of us because we were 21 and 22 respectively.
Yeah,
this was
great
this
year.
was in the heat of college. So let me
best summer of my life, 2011.
There you go. These were the best
really
days
was.
of our lives.
Well, I mean, there was a point, I think it was September. It was definitely September because football season started. And me and the boys, shout out
Was
Roth.
it the 21st of September?
Could have been. Shout out Roth, Stinch, Chino. We were hanging out and we had tickets to like the Steelers game. It was a Sunday, and we were like, well, do we want to go to the Steelers games? And we're like, I mean, Pittsburgh, like Steelers games tickets are, like next to godliness. It's like you might as well have a ticket to the chocolate factory. And we were just like, we can probably find something more fun to do. Like that was how the summer had progressed for us. Like we were like, the Steelers game's an old hat. Like that seems kind of tame. Like we can find something more fun to do. We did. It was a great summer. Great summer.
Well, while Mike was blowing off Steelers games, let me tell you what else was going on in 2011 that will bring us down memory lane here. So the Green Bay Packers won the Super Bowl 45 that year, defeated the Pittsburgh Steelers 31-25.
And Mike didn't go to the game.
Yeah, I know. Should have went to that game. So this game became the most watched television program in U.S. history to that point at 111 million viewers. Big game. I'm
sorry, how many?
111 million.
No.
111.
No.
Yeah. Yes.
What?
Broke the records.
That's bananas.
I mean, you had Aaron Rodgers, you had the historic Steelers coming off of 2011. Yeah, so it was Tomlin. So it's just kind of still at the heart of that. I did
not realize
Tomlin
that. That's a lot. That's a lot of viewer. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Last year was 102.
There you go. So it's I don't know if it's still the most watched.
2018, 103. Yeah.
So
I guess you don't think of like 100 million viewers for the Super Bowl. Like whenever I think of the numbers, I wouldn't have guessed that. It's a lot of that's a lot of viewers.
It's a lot of people.
Anyways, what did you say? 111?
Yeah.
27. Oh no, sorry, wrong one. Yeah, it looks like that's the leader. So for a lot of, I've looked at a few so far, and
Yeah.
2016, 111.
Who was that between?
Broncos and
Seahawks or
Seahawks.
Panthers. Seahawks.
Yeah, that was
Panthers.
before.
Oh, Panthers. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
Peyton
that's
getting
a lot.
Peyton's
his
last ride.
Yeah, Peyton's last ride. Yeah, definitely. It was a great game. Obviously, I was rooting for the Steelers because, suck it, Packers and Aaron Rodgers. But
Yep.
Yeah. So the Yukon Huskies defeated the Butler Bulldogs to win the 2011 men's basketball championship. And if you guys remember, that's the Kemba Walker tourney where the 10 seed Connecticut team went on a run like never before.
So that feels like it was 10 years ago, but Kemba Walker doesn't seem like he's been out of college basketball for 10 years. I don't know.
Agree with that.
Kind of a weird
I agree with that.
thing.
Yeah, that's also Gordon Hayward, Butler Bulldog team too. Yeah,
was that Steph?
No. Well,
maybe.
Yeah, it might have been.
That might have been his tournament
because he's been in the league about 10 years, 11 years.
Yeah, I know that was Draymond's Final Four as well. We lost to Butler at the buzzer. It's a great tournament. I don't think anyone was beating UConn that year anyway, but. The WWF wrestler Randy Savage dies of a heart attack when he loses control of his Jeep Wrangler and crashes into a tree. He was only 58 years old. Good old Macho Man, which when Mike and I go to this 80s cover band in the DC area, which is awesome.
Shout out leg warmers.
I dress as Hulk Hogan. That's why I have that costume, and Mike is Randy Savage.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, man. Rest in peace to the Macho Man, dude. So yeah.
Sad. All the things that were in his body to make his to have that kind of energy. Yeah. Oprah Winfrey hosted her final talk show of her show, which aired for 25 years. Which is kind of crazy. I guess I didn't realize 2011 was the last ride for Oprah. The Dallas Mavericks won their first NBA championship 4-2 against the star-studded Miami Heat of LeBron and Wade and Bosch.
Shout out Pittsburgh native and Indiana Hoosier Mark Cuban.
Yes, there you go. Dirk Nowitzki got to write off.
Shout out Dirk Nowitzki.
And the Sunset finally got that championship. That was great. Also that year, Anthony Weiner had his photo scandal, which led to his resignation. That was
man, I forget. That's a name that's just perfect for the person.
Oh yeah. Captain America: The First Avenger was released. That was the 5th film of the MCU and was part of their phase 1. It's crazy to think that was that long ago. And then this is also something I didn't realize happened this year either, but former Penn State assistant coach Jerry Sandusky was arrested on nearly 40 counts of molesting 8 boys over a 15-year period.
Yeah.
Not great.
Not great at all.
That really started the downfall of that program, obviously.
And Joe Paterno himself.
Joe Paterno didn't last much longer than that. Crazy. Also, this was crazy to think about as well. Baylor quarterback Robert Griffin III wins the Heisman Trophy back in 2011.
Do you ever wonder, like, if that whole thing? I mean, obviously, like, let's take the terrible acts of Jerry Sandusky out of it, but like the fact that like ESPN does not talk about Joe Paterno at all. Anytime they talk about Penn State, like the statue's gone, like there's nothing about Joe Pa. That's crazy. Like when you think, like now, I think that most of the, like, you don't really think about it anytime people talk about Penn State, and like anytime Penn State's brought up on game day and stuff like that, it's just that he's just not talked about. And he was such a part of that program for such a long time. It just boggles the mind, because it's like whenever Penn State's on game day or featured or something like that, there's just a whole section of most of their history that's like, well, I can't really talk about that. It's like,
no, I mean, it's probably for the best too at this point.
I agree.
Imagine if that had happened now. So Yeah,
I mean,
it's
I'm not saying that
Yeah.
we should talk
no,
about Joe Buck,
no,
but just like
it's-
that's
no, it is
Just
crazy.
erased.
because,
yeah.
I mean, Penn State is who Penn State is because of him and what he did for the program. But
Joe
unfortunately,
Paterno,
had-
very clear.
right.
EJ was talking about Joe Paterno there.
but unfortunately, he had a very terrible thing
Yeah.
that he was aware of, and that's what happens. You can't put football before other people's lives. So
Seeing the same thing with the Chicago Blackhawks right now too.
yeah, that big hefty $2 million fine from the
Yeah.
NHL, which is less than
I think I think
Other
there's more to
things.
come, but we'll see.
yeah. That's a whole different story. Maybe potential podcast, scandals. Maybe in the
I mean, it
future.
should be
Don't
happening
know.
with the
Mystery
Washington football
scandals.
team too, but instead
Yeah.
They
Frank
have way too
Caliendo
many
just
scandals
can't
to get
use his,
into.
can't use his Spider 2XY banana impression anymore. So
No. And the last thing I have here from 2011, which was interesting as well. Didn't realize this was already 10 years old, but the Impractical Jokers debuted their first episode.
Wow.
nice.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. All right, so back to this trophy. So starting in 2011, when Nebraska was introduced to the Big Ten, the game was referred to, this game was referred to as the Heroes game, and they announced that the Heroes Trophy would be awarded to the winner of the game. So the reason why it is referred to as the Heroes game in the Heroes Trophy is because at each game, at each Heroes game between Iowa and Nebraska, both teams recognize individuals from each state for acts of heroism in their communities. So,
I like that.
yeah, so the fans of each school are encouraged to nominate everyday citizens of Iowa and Nebraska who have performed extraordinary acts of heroism. And one citizen hero from each state will be invited to the game, or is invited to the game as a special guest of the teams. So they also receive on-field recognition, and they have his or her name inscribed on the game trophy. So just to kind of talk about, give you guys a little bit more something to think about as far as a trophy, because I know I couldn't get a picture of all four sides, but as you described, it's almost like a cake where it has a bottom base, and then a skinnier second base, and then on top there's the football. But each side of that trophy has a reason and a meaning. So let me talk through that with you guys. So the front displays the Heroes game logo, brushed in aluminum. It has the logo of the game itself, along with the Iowa and
teams.
Nebraska. So the back is labeled at the top as tradition. So this includes brushed aluminum art that prominently displays the images of Memorial
I
Stadium.
like how British people say aluminum. Aluminium.
Aluminium.
Oh,
Yes.
I love that. Anyways, sorry.
So the back is tradition, and so it has images of Memorial Stadium, which is Nebraska's stadium, as well as a picture of Kinnick Stadium, which is Iowa's. So these are traditions of the two institutions and their programs. Like, everyone has heard about Memorial Stadium, Kinnick. They're very hard to play. Always have really great home field advantages. So that's the back, tradition. The left side is labeled at the top as valor. So this carries the badges that will be dated, and then has the date and the names of the citizen heroes that are recognized for that year, which is pretty cool. And then the right side says victory at the top, and that carries the badges that are dated with the final score. Yes,
Yeah, drama.
that have the final scores of the game. So it's a pretty encompassing trophy that really has more than it looks originally.
There's a lot going on there.
Yeah,
I dig
People
that.
in that region, they do some things right in honoring heroes like this, but also it makes me think of Iowa with their wave to like the Children's Hospital and stuff.
Yeah.
Also Nebraska with Team Jack and their stuff they do. It's some good stuff going on in that region.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, America's heartland is, I feel like people always consider it flyover states and not as important as the coast. But I feel like
they
there's a
know
lot
what's
of-
important. I mean,
Right.
you talk about things they're not thought as important, but they know what's important. I mean, shoot, that's awesome. Like, that's really cool that they put so much thought into it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
This was kind of an interesting thing that that I kind of laughed at. So in 2017, it was announced by the Big Ten Conference that in 2020 and 2021, the game would not take place on Black Friday. But there was significant opposition from fans, so much so that the Nebraska athletic director at the time, Bill Moos, of course, made it a priority to
Are you
restore
saying
the
just
game.
moose because like cows?
Yes, from Nebraska, of course.
Were they mad that it wasn't taking place at all, or that it wasn't taking place on Black Friday?
On Black Friday.
Okay.
It was such a tradition for them to have it and rivalry week. I was actually really surprised to find out that, from my understanding, not from Iowa, but this is on par with the Cyhawk and probably over the Heartland as far as rivalry. They even though they haven't been able to play each other every year until 2014 when they were put on the same side of the Big Ten, but this is definitely a big deal for them. They want it to be at the end of the year. So because of all of that outrage, the Big Ten changed the schedule. And so for 2021 through 2025, they are confirmed to be on Black Friday. And I would assume that that would continue moving forward as well. And then the last thing here, so you guys already kind of we talked about how they do things right in the Midwest, and these two schools in particular do things right. I also saw this. I couldn't find a lot of information on it, but what I did find, I'll share with you guys. So there's another trophy that is played in a different way for this game, and it's the Cornball trophy. Now, to be honest, that's awesome. You guys can scroll down and look at it. I added it to the.
It looks very similar.
Bowl with a B,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Oh yeah, they're basically the same trophy.
But with a bowl of corn on top.
With a bowl of corn.
But
kinda
they're
like
not
this one
really the
better.
same trophy either. But
They're similar.
Well,
They're
this
tiered.
one,
There's
when you
3
talk about one
tiers.
that looks more like a fancy football trophy, this definitely looks more like a fancy football.
Yeah, this one looks more homemade, but they're essentially the same idea with the tiers and
Yes,
the
3
shape.
tiers. Yeah.
Yes.
But I think there's a lot more to the other trophy now. Like the fact they put so much thought into the words behind
Yeah.
the heroes.
Oh, for sure.
I love that. But this with just a straight up bowl of legitimate corn at the top, as
Fresh
opposed to like,
corn. It's real.
as opposed to like a pewter or stone or like steel corn. No, those are fresh husks, fresh cobs, baby.
So this trophy and this competition is the Cornball Philanthropic competition. So this was created by Nebraska's Innocence Society and the Iowa President Leadership Society. So that's where this usually resides with one or the other. But essentially, it is a competition for fundraising. So each year, the two teams highlight a nonprofit or any kind of really philanthropy. For instance, it was a blood drive one year, it was a penny fundraiser the other, but it's just a competition between the two schools. So the
What's
schools
a
that
penny
raise
fundraiser? It's just who can get the most pennies?
yeah. So we used to have them at school where you actually literally bring in pennies.
That's a Midwestern thing.
Yeah,
I guess so.
I've never heard of that.
it is.
Yeah. So it's really cool. So they have a competition. I couldn't find what it is this year, who the two fundraisers are, but essentially one school picks one, the other one picks the other, and they have a fundraiser, and the school that raises the most money gets the trophy that year. So I also thought that was pretty cool. And then the winners of the philanthropic competition get their name name inscribed on the trophy along with the winner of the game. So that's what those empty
That's dope.
plaques are in the front is who won the fundraiser and then who won the game.
And who gets the corn?
Everyone
Everyone
shares. Everyone shares 5 ears of corn.
Everyone gets a bite.
One bite, everyone knows.
All right, guys. So that's all I have for you. So why don't we get to our rankings? So for the listeners, we rank on a scale from 1 to 5 on looks, 1 to 5 on history, 1 to 5 on the rivalry, and then overall, if you put it in a bottom, middle, or top tier. So Joe, why don't we start with you? What are you thinking?
Are we doing both of them or just the one?
Why don't we do the actual Heroes Trophy?
Okay. So let me scroll up here.
Take
So
another
for-
gander.
Yeah, for looks, I'm gonna stick with my fantasy football comment, it does look like a fantasy football trophy, but a nice one, really nice one. So for looks, I'll give it a 3. They did put some effort into this. It sounds like, and you can't tell this by just looking at it. You don't know that it has all these different like logos and different
Sections
meanings,
and
yeah, on each side, because there are 4 sides to it, and then different like panels, like looks like 2 panels in each segment. So then you have 4 sides. So yeah. History, it's not a ton of history, and some of these like go way back. This one's not as in depth, so I'm gonna go 2 for history. Rivalry, I have a 2 with a question mark because I can't believe Nebraska is leading this. So I'm gonna go 2.
Yeah, that's weird.
2 question mark, whatever that means.
And then overall, where do you put it?
Overall, low tier. But kind of like the broken chair with the charity aspect. I hope that it goes up to middle or high tier. So low 0.5.
Okay, Mike, what do you think?
Yeah. So before, I hear you, Joe, on the whole like fantasy football trophy thing, but like I love how big it is. The fact it's like a nice,
it is, yeah,
big old beefy boy. I love that.
They didn't have to do that.
Nice thick
Got some
trophy.
girth.
And I love. So I was gonna do it at 4, but then EJ, you told me about the well, I was thinking like 3 or 4, and then EJ, you told me about the meaning on each side, so I'm gonna bump up to a 5, man. I love that it's yeah, I know I surprised myself on that answer too a little bit there, but it is like a big, and just keep looking at the picture of Kittle carrying it. I'm like, that is a trophy. That's like you talk about getting a trophy after a game. That is a freaking.
I think
trophy.
This is your standard traditional, like football trophy.
Yes.
This is exactly what you think of if you're watching a movie and you think, oh, they're getting a trophy. This is what you see.
Yes, exactly. Especially for Midwest teams. This is perfect. Yep. They nailed it. Knocked out of the park on this one. History, I'm only going with a 1. I mean, they just like history of the history of the trophy. Okay. Yeah, still 1. I mean, like it's cool that they did, but there's just not like a lot of stuff behind it. It's not like this thing ever got stolen. There's never outside of a cigar shop. There's just
hasn't
not
been
enough
stolen yet.
Actions. Yeah, right. The rivalry itself, I'm gonna go with like a 3, I think, because even though it's not like a super storied history, the fact that Nebraska's winning this thing kind of throws me off. And I think it's gonna be a good rivalry in years to come. We'll see what old Scott Frost does with the program. I was always a tough place to play. I love that they freaked out whenever they talked about moving it off of Black Friday. So that's puts it right
they care
for me. And a mid-tier. 135, that's a mid-tier. So we're the math made it real easy for me on that. So
okay. I'm gonna give the looks a 3.5. I agree with Joe, and my initial thought was, okay, this could be cooler. It just kind of looks like a typical football.
Hold on.
Yeah.
You gave that ballless, sackless bowl a 3.5, and you're gonna give this thing a 3.5? Are we serious?
Ballless, sackless bowl.
The Heartland Trophy.
Oh, bull. Jeez. Yeah. Okay. You're just like my wife. I can't understand any.
Let's go down to the poll. Go take a swim in the poll.
No offense to well, I guess Iowa was part of that trophy too. So, but no offense to Wisconsin, but you're gonna rank those 2 trophies the same? You don't look at this sheet when you're doing it and be like, okay, where do I rank other things?
I don't.
Come on.
I don't. No.
Organic, baby.
Okay, yeah, it's organic, just like some
all right.
pizza reviews.
Okay, I just saw them both right there. I'm like, there is a difference.
Okay,
here.
How about I do 3.75? So the reason why
no, do not let him sway you.
No, you're at 3.5.
Now you're getting as
I'm giving you crap about it, but
be.
I am not changing that ranking. No,
now
you don't get to save yourself.
Can I explain why I have it at a 3.5?
Yeah, I'm sorry, that was rude to me.
So I agree. I'm big on uniqueness, and as far as a trophy with a football on top of it, at first glance, it didn't impress me. But then once I realized, one, that it had a very cool aspect of highlighting heroes in the communities, and the fact that they get their names on the trophy, and it has the sections that also on the back that has the stadiums on there, because again, they're both historic. That's what brought it up to a 3.5. And my defense with the bull, while the bull is doesn't
the
look
bull's
as
out of this. We
flashy.
talked about the bull last week. It's
Yeah, we
fine.
don't need
that's fine.
to
We're
defend
past it.
your
We're past
your
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's a 3.5. I think it's probably the best football with a trophy with a football on top of it you're probably going to find. Let's put it that way. It's very intricate and has some really cool uniqueness to it. The history is just a 1. I agree there isn't a strong history there, and the rivalry is a 3.5 in my book because it is an old rivalry that hasn't played as often because they were in different conferences, but now that they're in the same conference, in the same division, playing annually, it's a close one. I have it like a 3.5. So I think it's kind of like Mike. I think it's projecting going to continue to grow. And I love that the fans are all about it being on the last game of the year for them. And then it's a middle tier for me because that I would say on the bottom end of the middle, but I think it's enough to get into a middle tier for me.
You think that they just wanted it on Black Friday so the husbands have an excuse to not go shopping? It's like, babe, we got the Heroes Trophy game. Like, what?
Yeah.
You want me to go stand in line at Walmart? No way.
Yeah. No,
Not a chance.
That's probably true. And just a reminder again, this game will not be played this week. It will be played on the last week of the year. I believe it is it won't be Black Friday. I think. Oh, you know what?
26th. It is.
It is Black Friday. Yeah, it is not on that Saturday. It is on that Friday, which also is pretty cool. And so that's going to do it for us this week. Follow us on Instagram at whiskers.whiskies. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, when you see our posts on Instagram, hit that like button. We love
and follow
likes. We always ask you to follow. I always forget to tell you to like the posts. Don't
Hearts
just
all over the
see it,
world, baby. Like it.
heart it. Also, don't forget to check out our Saturday morning bets. We didn't post one this week. Sorry. We will definitely have one next week.
You know, hey, you know what? You don't want to share? That's fine. I mean, share for NFL Sunday. That's all right. But hey, you don't want to follow my bets? That's fine. If you don't want to place 40 to 50 bets on Saturday and end up $13, that's your problem, my man. Like, that's the life I live. If you want to go on that route with me every Saturday, fine. Feel sorry for you. What are you gonna do? Go pumpkin patches, pick some apple cider? That's not how it works. I mean, I guess you do pick a jug of apple cider, but you pick apples. I'm just getting fired up. That's fine. I can't wait for this Saturday.
And rant, but sharing is always caring, please, folks.
Yeah,
sharing is caring. So join us next week when we talk about an incredible trophy. I am excited for the Floyd of Rosedale trophy. So for Mike and Joe, I'm EJ. Always remember, too much of anything is bad. Too much good whiskey is barely enough.
Cheers, boys.